Alright, let's talk about the eternal flood of roguelikes, those games that promise you'll just do one more run, and suddenly it's 3 a.m. and you're questioning every life choice. You know the drill. Neon lights, random power-ups, the constant itch to see what wild build you'll get next. Galactic Glitch throws its hat into this overcrowded ring with one simple pitch. What if your twin-stick shooter had a gravity gun and everything was really circular? I'm your host, and this is Veteran Game, the channel where we cut through the hype and tell you exactly whether a game deserves a place in your ever-growing backlog. If you're a roguelike addict or a sucker for clever indie twists, hit that subscribe button now, because Galactic Glitch is the kind of game that gets people talking, for better and for worse. So what is Galactic Glitch? You're a prototype ship trapped in a simulation, spinning your way through endless small circular rooms filled with enemies and debris. The story? Pretty much just a sci-fi excuse to shoot things. There are hints that your mysterious creator might not be on your side, but let's be real. You're here for the action, not the narrative. Let's talk gameplay, because that's the entire show here. It's a classic twin-stick shooter at heart, but with one major twist: your ship is equipped with a gravity gun. This means you can suck up asteroids, enemy parts, or basically anything loose in the arena, then yeet it back at your foes. Sounds fun, right? At first, it actually is. There's something really satisfying about picking up a big chunk of space rock and sending it bouncing around the room like the world's angriest pinball. But the novelty wears off fast. Once you realize most battles are just you spinning around in circles, shooting and occasionally chucking rocks, things get repetitive in a hurry. Every room is basically the same size and shape, a perfect circle with some randomly generated obstacles and enemy spawns. The environments might swap out asteroids for explosive barrels or mix up the enemy types, but you're always just looping around, clearing the same kind of arenas. Now, in a good roguelike, repetition is balanced out by crazy upgrades and run-changing powers. Think about Hades or Dead Cells. Every 5 minutes you're handed some wild new tool, turning your playstyle on its head. Galactic Glitch just doesn't get this memo. Power-ups are few and far between. Sometimes you'll go 10 rooms without getting anything meaningful, and even then it might just be a plus 5 HP boost. Sure, there are more interesting upgrades, missile launchers, drones, poison pools, but you might go an entire level without seeing one. The pacing feels off, like the game is afraid of letting you feel powerful. And that's the big problem. When you're grinding through a roguelike, you need those dopamine hits, those moments where you suddenly get to break the rules and feel overpowered, even for a few rooms. Galactic Glitch is way too stingy, holding back the cool stuff so much that you're stuck with the basic pea shooter for what feels like forever. Progression, it's a mixed bag. You've got your standard roguelike currencies for run-based upgrades, stuff like glitch charges and glitch tokens for temporary perks, plus orbs and blueprints for permanent unlocks back at the hub. Want new ships, new weapons, or meta upgrades? Better hope the right blueprint drops, or you'll be farming forever. And every time you kill a boss for the first time, you unlock a higher world tier, ratcheting up the difficulty. But you can't ever go back. Like ever. Hope you enjoyed those beefier enemies, because that's the rest of your Galactic Glitch career. Don't get me wrong, there are some good ideas here. The gravity gun is fun for physics shenanigans, and you can use it to bounce objects off walls, throw enemies into each other, or even sling yourself around the arena. Sometimes it backfires, launch yourself into a wall mid-fight, and you'll probably take more damage than you dish out. But at least the devs tried something new. And the way enemy parts break off individually, changing their attack patterns, adds some welcome tactical depth. Bosses and mini-bosses have unique attacks and weak spots, forcing you to pay attention and target the right pieces. But variety is sorely lacking. Every room is a circle, every environment feels interchangeable, and even though enemy types change between levels, you rarely have to adjust your strategy. There are some neat surprises with environmental traps and object interactions, but nothing you haven't seen in the first hour. And then there's the meta progression. Let's just say it borrows heavily from Dead Cells. permanent upgrades, unlockable ships, and special powers that act like perks you can level up. It's all here. The catch? It's even more random and honestly a little less rewarding. Sometimes you'll have resources and nothing to spend them on. Other times you'll be desperate for an upgrade but get nothing but chump change. Worse, the game teases Metroidvania-style progression, secrets, and alternate paths you can't access without the right power. Problem is, the level design is so samey that it's hard to tell whether you're missing a hidden route or just bumping into a wall that was always meant to be there. You'll spend more time second-guessing the map than actually feeling clever for finding a secret. Look, I want to root for Galactic Glitch. The genre could always use new ideas, and I respect the ambition of trying to merge physics-based action with twin-stick roguelike chaos. But what we get is a game that feels more like a prototype than a fully realized vision. The upgrades are too sparse, the progression is too slow, and the moment-to-moment gameplay just isn't varied enough to keep you hooked. After a few hours, you'll have seen nearly everything the game has to offer. Sure, you can grind for unlocks, bump up the difficulty, and maybe find a new ship that suits your playstyle. But without those essential power fantasy moments, the holy crap, look what I just unlocked rush. Galactic Glitch just can't stand toe-to-toe with the best in the genre. If you're desperate for a new twin-stick roguelike, and you're willing to put up with slow starts and repetitive rooms, maybe you'll get some mileage out of this one. For everyone else, there are too many games out there doing every part of this formula better, flashier, and with a bigger sense of fun. So that's the cosmic truth. Galactic Glitch is an interesting experiment, but it's stuck in a loop of its own making. If you want wild upgrades and roguelike thrills, you're better off looking elsewhere. But hey, if you made it this far, drop your own roguelike recommendations in the comments. And don't forget to like and subscribe for more brutally honest reviews, deep dives, and bold opinions. Only here on Veteran Game. See you next run!